Hey there YouTube, this is sjm496 back with another review. This time, I came home and I had a package waiting for me. This guy is the Crenova XPE498 projector. So we are going to take a look at this today. I'm going to give you my impressions and yeah. So this was sent in for review and I have a history with, Jesus. Trying to open this. I have a history with video projectors. I've done plenty of videos like LED modding them, and I have a number of video projectors, so I like to think that I'm fairly well versed in terms of like different technologies, projection technologies and whatnot. So we're gonna actually put this to the test and see. I believe this guy retails for, what did I get it for? Something like $89.99. So we'll see just how good that is, how much your sub $100 projector does. And it's slowly wiggling out. Okay, wow, that was actually, the box is really nice though, I gotta admit. Really nice like gold lettering. It's actually pretty thick cardboard. Anyway, we're not reviewing the box, we're reviewing the projector. So here we have a gift voucher, cool, and a 12-month warranty service card offered by the manufacturer. So that's pretty cool. And we have the projector itself. Wow, this is actually a bit smaller than I thought it'd be. Kind of hard to tell scale from pictures online. Comes in this really nice bag that I like to keep. This type of like plastic bag. It's really nice. Reuse that definitely. And here's the projector itself, and has AC power brick integrated, so that's really nice. I like that. It reads SD cards. It does VGA input, HDMI, USB, and then composite AV input, as well as audio out. You can see the speaker right in there. There's some exhaust venting and whatnot along the side, as expected. And we have the IR sensor in the back here. Here we have a couple buttons. There is a basic like operating system from what I've seen to navigate files that are stored on local storage. We have the power button. I guess that's a source button, a back button, enter, and whatnot. There's also this funky looking light bar there. The focus adjustment is via this knob, and that's interesting. Okay. I would have preferred, it's like perfectly smooth, so if your fingers are kind of greasy or oily, that could be a problem, but I would have kind of preferred if there's some grippy indentations or something in the plastic, or if this were rubber, but it seems pretty smooth. There is luckily a rubber cap included, that's nice. To protect the lens itself, and we can see just how large that lens is. I'm guessing the reason why they went with such a large lens is to let as much light through as possible. This is an LED projector, so don't expect it to be remotely close to as bright as a lamp-based projector, but yeah, that's sort of the price you pay for going LED. Never have to change the bulb on this pretty much. There is a second IR port on the front. That's interesting. So that's nice that they put it on both sides. I don't know if you can reverse mount this. I don't believe so, because I'm not really seeing any mounting points. There appears to be a threaded mounting hole here. Yeah, plastic bottom. It almost felt like metal for a second. It's actually pretty thick. Very well built, I will say. There's like no flex in it. This is solid. Like a solid lump of nice quality plastic. But yeah, I would have liked to see maybe a mount of some sort, so that you can mount this on a tripod, but it is what it is. Anyway, here we have just this mini LED projector, 100 to 240 volts, dual power, and it's rated for 50 watts max. So anyway, beyond that, hopefully we get a power cord in here, as evidenced by the picture of the power cord. Oh yeah, and cables, and the remote, and lots of things are falling out. A manual. So, yeah, don't pour chemicals on it. Don't stare with your eyes. No looking at wrenches. Don't cry around it. It doesn't like crying. Don't put bacon on top of your projector. I mean, even though you might be tempted to make bacon with it if it gets hot enough, this is an LED projector after all. Anyway, on a serious note, yeah, we just pretty much went over everything. It does include a remote control, so that's nice. We'll have to see just how effective that is. Shows it can be hooked up to modern gaming consoles and whatnot over HDMI, etc., etc. One important thing is it does have Keystone Adjustment. And I believe yep, that's this slider right here. So it does plus minus 15 degrees, which will be interesting to see just how effective that is. It feels like there's a mechanical linkage, so this is probably actually physically tilting like a mirror or something inside. It's not digitally done, which is actually probably better, because when you do it digitally, you usually sacrifice resolution because you're actually scaling it in software and using less of the pixels on the top or the bottom. Anyway, yeah, 3-watt audio, etc., etc., etc. And one important thing to note, I knew going into this, it says all over the webpage 1080p compatible, which is not incorrect, but it's more important to know that it's 800 by 480 pixels native. So that's the maximum resolution of the LCD panel inside the projector itself. So it's going to downscale if you put in a 1080p or 720p image. So that's just what it is. You pretty much cannot buy a projector that's like higher than WVGA for less than $100. They just don't exist. So that's something that you got to live with. It's a compromise. Anyway, yeah, it supports a boatload of different file formats, so we're going to have to test that out with the USB stick. And yeah, anyway, we have a nice little remote control. Does not come with batteries. You'll need some 2 AAA batteries. I wonder if these are backlit. That'd be really nice. It'd make sense if... You know what? Haha, I actually do have some batteries within reach. Let's see if these are backlit. I would really like that if they were. I wouldn't expect it. But, oh, they're not. But yeah, you can see there. It's lighting up the IR LED itself. But yeah, the key buttons aren't backlit. That's a missed opportunity. But they are pretty stiff, the buttons. I suppose they'll get a little looser with use. Yeah, that's just about everything you'd need on here. So let's sit back and control it. As the little footy. That's what that's for. This isn't a screw mount. This is for the foot. Actually, there is a what appears to be like a 1/4 inch. I don't know if that's 1/4 inch. A thread mount on there with a metal insert. So maybe that is. This is like wall mountable. This is a very long screw, and it is taking a very long time. Let me fast forward through this. Okay, that took a while. This is actually kind of hard to do. I really wish they put some kind of like a bigger something, because this is all smooth plastic. It kind of hurts your finger to get. You don't have to adjust this often given, but they really should have had some kind of like tooth pattern along the edge here, so that you could a lot easier screw it in. It is a little stiff. I'm guessing that's because the threads are just freshly tapped. They haven't been screwed into, but yeah. And here, thankfully, it does come with a AV cord. We're probably not going to really use the AV. We are going to probably end up using an HDMI, which thankfully it comes with an HDMI cord. Actually, a nice flat one too. I like that. Yeah. And most importantly, the AC cord. Okay, so whenever I see exposed screws, I have to open it up. So basically, pretty easy. Everywhere you see a hole, there's a screw in. There's 2 here, which I believe attach kind of the frame for the lens. I don't think those are necessary to actually open this guy up, but all the other ones are. And there are tons of clips around, so if you have a pry tool, you can just sort of get in there and work all the clips loose. You have to be particularly careful around the front because there are clips into the front bezel here. At first, I was a bit confused. I thought this was a metal frame. It's just really high-quality plastic, and I'm actually pretty impressed by how strong it is. There is a single ribbon going over to the button pad with the LEDs and whatnot, and they actually labeled everything. So you can see here, if you wanted to modify this, not that I would advise, unless you know what you're doing, you could totally. Everything is well labeled, well laid out. The entire driver board is just this one board here, which is, you could see inside is the power supply, because obviously this takes AC in, which is huge kudos that they integrated the power supply into the unit itself, so it doesn't have a separate power brick. I really like that. We have the fan here, actually thermally designed. This is very well designed. There's another fan here. It actually blows the air out the venting on the side, and so basically you have the heatsink. I'm guessing the LED is going to be somewhere here or maybe up here. Probably, actually, if I think about it, up here. There are heat pipes going over, and probably the metal mounting pad is here. The LED fires this way, I'm guessing. There's a 45-degree angle mirror here, and the lens obviously points out there, so it bounces off. The LCD, just looking at where the ribbon is situated, I'm guessing is right about in here, and it's going to have some culminating lenses to get the light source roughly parallel. We have another fan here which blows kind of right across the heatsink here. They did a really nice job with designing this, actually. I'm pretty impressed. We have a separate cable just for the IR, and it goes right up to the front. There's a tiny subboard there for the IR sensor on the front. I'm really surprised how, thick and metal feeling this plastic is. It just feels really heavy and solid. I like that. We have our focus mechanism. Obviously, it just rotates the entire lens, and it's slotted so that it slides up and down. Other than that, I don't think there's really much underneath this. If I do remove this, probably going to get dust all in the mechanism and whatnot, and I'd prefer not to do that. So we're probably going to leave the teardown at this. So if we take a closer look at the circuit board, we can see a lot of power supply, local power supply generation here. This guy is going to be a system on chip. We have another chip here which appears to be maybe something related to the LCD, because the ribbon's right over here. Maybe a like a RGB driver chip or something like that. We have a flash, like a serial flash chip here. I'm guessing that stores the firmware. I would expect to see a RAM chip maybe on the bottom or something like that of this board in here. But other than that, yeah, we have our audio speaker right in here. Expect to see an amplifier somewhere as well. But yeah, this is actually really simplistic design. Not too many wires going everywhere. Everything kind of implemented in this one spot here. So yeah, it's actually really solid design. I'd expect this to last quite a while. I am interested to see how this is linked. I'm guessing since the LCD is about here, there must be a lens or something, or maybe this actually tilts the LCD itself. So this is just maybe the LCD is mounted on an axle, and these just have little fingers that can push it up and angled up or down. You can kind of hear it doing its job there. Yeah, so all in all, this is actually a pretty simple design. It should be fairly reliable, just looking at the way that this is all designed. It's pretty simple. I really like how simple the design is. The optical path is pretty straightforward. And yeah, but most important thing is not just how something is built, but yeah, let's see how this actually performs. Okay, so here we are. The unit's currently running. I'm actually using this Anycast, which is essentially like a what do you call it, Mirrorcast device that allows you to connect to like an Android tablet or phone, and actually have it synced to my tablet right now. And as you can see, it's projected on the wall. This is actually with the blinds kind of shut, but actually a lot of ambient light leaking. The image is about like a 40 or 50 inch image right now. You can see the clock kind of as a size reference. But yeah, it all works. Just go home here, and I could start up a clip playing, and this is over Wi-Fi obviously from my tablet. And we can just start up the trailer to my channel. You can hear the speaker works. The remote's actually really good. You don't even have to be pointing it at the unit. I'm pointing it at the wall right now, and I guess it's reflecting off the wall, and it's actually able to sense that, which is actually really good. You can see the trailer playing, and you can just mute it. But yeah, image quality is actually really good. This wall that I'm filming on right now actually isn't purely white, and there's actually like some kind of weird pattern on it. But despite that, the image quality actually looks really good. You can see, I can go right up against the wall here. Hopefully I'm not blocking it. And you could see, when you get really close, you can see the individual pixels, kind of the gradation. But if you actually go back quite a bit, it looks really nice, I gotta say. It is a standard definition. It's not high definition. It does downscale the Miracast dongle that I'm using. I think it does 720p native, but this is obviously downscaling it to WVGA, so 854 by 480, something like that. Maybe around that resolution is the native resolution of the panel. In terms of brightness, this is in a non-dark room, so if I had the lights off, this would look absolutely amazing in terms of image brightness. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed with this. See here, sitting on my home screen. The lag is from the fact that I'm using a tablet that's running Android 4.4. That's a good 10-15 years old. But in terms of the image, definitely serviceable. I could definitely sit here and watch an entire movie, or binge watch Netflix or whatnot on here with absolutely no problem. There are a couple inputs. I can show you a quick clip, so we can actually switch over to. So if we hit source, right now we're on HDMI. So I can bring up PC RGB. Which is the VGA port. I'm on HDMI. AV is the composite video input, and we have USB/SD, which is the onboard ports, basically, so you can plug in a thumb drive. And from here, you can actually go through and search. I do have an SD card inserted. I don't have any files on it. Let me stick a few files on here. And see how good the playback is. So give me a second. Okay, so I placed some video files from my channel, obviously, for copyright reasons, onto the SD card. So you can just go into Movie and see. And it might take a couple seconds to read it, depending on how many files are on the card and how large the card is. So there we go. So I have two files, one in the root and then one inside a folder, so you can actually put multiple folders and it'll read it just like a mass storage device, which it basically is. So here I can just go in and play this file, and if I hit play, it loads it, and there we go. We're playing the file right now, and we can see kind of the elapsed control. We can actually control it. There are soft buttons for these, as well as we can actually use the dedicated buttons as well, so I can play pause it at any point in time, like that. And I can fast forward. But yeah, you can see everything works perfectly. The image looks pretty darn good, I gotta admit. When I first heard that it was like 800 by 400 resolution, I kind of scoffed at it a little bit. But actually, for watching most things, it's good enough. This looks perfectly fine. And you can see here, I can exit out. That was just a quick clip. And we can go back to the root and play this guy. And these are 1080p video files, so the fact that they run this smoothly, and it loads up real quick too. So obviously the processor is well suited for this, so it's not like it's having a hard time reading these files. It reads them just fine. And so anyway, yeah, We can just mute this and just go through. But yeah, anyway, you can see here everything runs perfectly fine. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this actually. In terms of the video quality, I definitely give it a pass. Now brightness, as I said, this is in a room with a the blinds shut, but it's actually fairly light. Like I can easily see there's plenty of brightness for something like this size screen, which would be, like I said, probably about 50 inches. Here is a Brookstone Pico projector that I have, and this is a battery-powered projector. I believe this is rated for about 100 lumens. And if we go to about the same size screen, you could see it's a little rough to tell because this is a white screen, so of course it's going to look brighter than a blue screen. But you can see that the brightness is probably about comparable if we go back to the correct size there. Let me just get it to a screen maybe with some color on it. Yeah, so there you go. You could see roughly equivalent brightness and roughly equivalent size screens. So even though this this projector right here, it's rated brightness, I think it was like 3200 lux. I have no idea what that is equivalent to in terms of lumens because everything in the industry uses lumens. But I'm going to guess in terms of equivalent brightness, it's somewhere between 100 and 125 lumens, which isn't terribly bright. So yes, you're going to need the lights turned down low, and you're going to need pretty much a darker dim environment to actually get a decent image. I probably wouldn't go much above around this size, so around 50 or 60 inches, because you start to be able to pretty easily see the pixelization. If I just go right in here, you could start to see it's pretty grainy. I wear glasses most of the time when I'm driving and stuff like that, so my eyesight's not so great. And I think that actually helps with these screens. If you sit back a little whiles away, you don't necessarily notice the pixelization of the image. So yeah, as to whether this could project like 100 or a 120-inch image, I think if you're in a pitch black room and there's absolutely no light, it could physically do it in terms of the light output, but you would definitely see how large the pixels are, and you'd start to see kind of that screen door effect that you get with relatively low resolution image projectors and whatnot. So yeah, I would probably advise keeping this at around 60 inches or less in order to kind of optimize the brightness and the image quality. But all in all, for an investment of like $80 or $90, I'd say that this is still a pretty good deal. You're not going to be able to find a like a multimedia projector with, like, you know, the multimedia aspect built in that can play video files internally. You're not going to find like a smart projector for less than 100 that can do, you know, these specs anyway. You're likely going to be spending $200 to $300 for projectors that have higher resolution and can have all this functionality built in. So all in all, I'm actually pretty impressed by this little guy. The remote works absolutely great. This is definitely a strong point. The interface is fairly easy to use. It gets warm to the touch. I was running this for just a couple minutes now, and it's just minorly warm. So they did a really good job with heat management. I really like that it has both SD card reader, HDMI, standard USB. You can plug in the thumb drive, it'll recognize it, as well as a VGA port. So this pretty much has every single input that you could possibly need. Picture quality is about average, I would say. It's akin to a lot of these little portable projectors. This guy has roughly the same resolution as this guy. But this one costs like $200. I think the retail price of this is like $200, $250. So for less than half the price, you're getting roughly equivalent performance, though it is larger. So yeah, all in all, I gotta say, pretty impressed with this guy. What you're getting for the price. that's sort of, if you are looking for something 1080p that's like all the bells and whistles, don't expect to spend, you know, anywhere near the price of this guy. This guy's a sub $100 projector, but it actually performs admirably, better than I actually thought it would. Definitely in line with projectors that cost quite a bit more. Even though it is larger and it can't run off batteries, this is a solid projector. This is actually really good, I would say, for like family night with kids, watching kids movies, where you don't want to necessarily invest in an entire setup and an expensive projector. The bulb on this is going to last a very long time. Thermally, this is designed very well, so I would expect it to, you know, last as long as the spec ratings on the LEDs. You know, it's going to be easily like 10-15,000 hours, if not in excess of that. The one downfall I would say is definitely the audio isn't so great, but it allows you to hook up external speakers, so you don't really have a limitation in terms of that. The remote, I freaking love how versatile this is. You don't even have to point it at the projector, just point it at the screen and it just works. That's kudos to them for that. The tripod mount isn't great. It seems like the tap on it isn't exactly the same as a standard like camcorder or camera mount. So it does fit, but it doesn't go in all the way, and it's just a little bit something off about it. So definitely, if they could fix that, that would be awesome. If you are gonna stick it on a table and just have it mounted straight on, this actually works very well with the included foot. It was a little stiff putting in the first time, but you know, once you work it back and forth a few times, it actually feels really nice now. Other than that, let's see, the keystoning, while it does work, it only gives you plus minus 15 degrees, so you're going to want to get it as straight as possible before you have to mess around with this. And if you don't have it straight on, it tends to make the image a little bit blurry in the top and the bottom corners. So my advice is try to get this as straight on as possible and not have to rely on keystoning, but it is there if you need it. I really like how all the buttons are replicated both on the unit and on the controller, so you actually, if you lose the remote, you can actually control everything from on board, so that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's a sub $100 projector that performs, you know, to what I would expect, like a projector that costs $150, something like that. So it's a pretty good deal, I gotta say. So yeah, anyway, if you guys are interested, I'll have links down below in the description, and you just feel how hefty this is. I know you guys can't feel it, but this is built like a tank. I really like the physical construction, so definitely huge kudos to Crenova. And thanks for sending this in for review. Yeah, as I said, I'll put links down to the Amazon sales page, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. I didn't go to full teardown because I didn't want to damage anything potentially or get fingerprints or dust. That would affect the video quality. Probably going to end up giving this to my sister, actually. She has an apartment with a lot more blank walls than mine. My house currently does. So she's going to be able to make a little bit better use of this than I. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.